Good evening, and we're delighted to have your company here at the Bingley Hall for a World Championship fight that has been a controversial issue ever since it was first mooted. Frank Tate of the United States defending his IBF middleweight crown against British champion Tony Sibson. The controversy? Well, IBF rules state the world title fight should be over 15 rounds, whereas the British Boxing Board of Control, along with the WBA and the WBC, insist on 12 rounds. Legal advice was taken, injunctions sought, and there were threats of disciplinary action. But good sense has prevailed, because yesterday the IBF said that the fight could go ahead over 12 rounds. How much all that wrangling has had on our chances of our British champion Tony Sibson, well, it's almost impossible to quantify. But we do know that he will have massive support for this, his third challenge for a world title. Tony Sibson, the pride of Leicester, is still only 29, although he seems to have been around forever. His tremendous experience encompasses 62 fights. The Marvin Hagler encounter in 1983 was his first tilt at a world title, and it was a painful experience. In September 1986, he moved up to light heavy to try and dispossess Dennis Andrews of his WBC crown, and that was a humiliating experience.
He'll never be... He's doing the Tarzan call there, saying, what am I doing down there? But, you know, it gets hard in this game after 60 fights. And it looks as though it's going to be all over in this round.
Well, Sibson shrugged off that fruitless exercise and last September, with typical resilience, challenged Brian Anderson for the British middleweight title, which he'd first held in 1979. And he triumphed.
Well, you could really almost shout out timber as he hit that. It was a little delay from that left hook, and he swayed and went over there like a tree being chopped down. There it is, all over in the seventh. Rolls over, gets up, and then realises that he's blown the British Championship.
This is it now. This is the last chance, as I said, and I'm just, you know, feeling edgy right now. Just looking forward to getting in there and getting the job started. I've got a lot of people to put down because I've been stabbed in the back so much before this fight, and I've got to pay them tonight with a victory.
So Tony Sibson anxious to get underway and certainly dedicated to his task. But what about his powerful American opponent, the 1984 Olympic light middleweight champion Frank Tate? Frank Tate is only 23. Born in Detroit, he now fights out of Houston, Texas. He has a flawless 21-fight record. He became world champion last October when he completely outclassed and outpointed the Liverpool-born Canadian Michael Olajide.
So Frank Tate very much the underdog here against a Canadian who comes out of New York, born in Liverpool. And Olajide, oops, he really caught for that one, and he's so wild with himself for walking into it. And Tate abandoned the Olympic boxing style when he won the light middleweight championship and really can be rugged here. And improved so much since he's been in camp training in Texas. A different fighter altogether. Can he last out here, Olajide? I doubt it, but he's ducking and diving and doing the best. His boxing's on to Michael Jackson at the moment, but he's got to move a bit quicker. Impressive stuff by Frank Tate now. He knows he's got this championship going now. He can become the new middleweight champion of the world now, in contention the IBF version with Hearns and Callum Bay. See, now he's getting back to having a look round and saying, I've got this fight in the bag. Hoops, and again, it never even seemed a hard punch. And here's the new champ.
Well, I'm positive. That was my plans when I got on the plane leaving the States to come here to return with my title, and that's what I'm going to do.
So Frank Tate, a formidable IBF title holder and confident too. But even before the fight, we've had drama. Here's Jim Rosenthal ringside.
There have been distressing and disgraceful scenes here at ringside. Canisters of CS gas have been exploded, one next to the middleweight Nigel Benn, who collapsed. Ringside viewers have been badly affected by that gas, in particular the radio commentary team and Henry Cooper. Very hard indeed to breathe. There have been appeals for calm. Sibson supporters really have disgraced themselves, and the bottom line is they've done his chances no good at all.
And that's all that Tony needs on what is being called his last chance. Let's go back ringside and join our partnership now with the former world lightweight champion Jim Watt and Reg Guthridge.
So thankfully then the ring is cleared with that tear gas that we had, and Henry Cooper's made an appeal, and here's the Frank Cappuccino from New Jersey.
I want you to protect yourself at all times. Both use touch gloves now. Good luck.
So looking very tense then, waiting for that final seconds to that bell, and they're staring each other out. Back to 12 rounds scheduled, remember now. Is this Tony Sibson's last chance? One of the most popular fighters Britain has produced in his 63rd professional fight. He turned pro on his 18th birthday. And the famous Midland chant then, Sibbo, Sibbo. Tate has tasted a bit of boxing in England before. He fought Winston Burnett in Basildon in the tent on the night that Terry Marsh became world champion. So there he is, he's getting stuck in right away, Sibson. He said he'd have to do that. And all the argy-bargy about how long the fight should be doesn't really bother either boxer. Well, it's always good to see Sibson doing this bobbing and weaving and concentrating when he does that. He tends to get a bit static when he's not happy with either his condition or the opponent or whatever. He tends to be a bit moody, but he's really fired himself up for this one. The famous last hurrah, as they say in the States. He's a good, patient boxer, Frank Tate. He doesn't always unload early on from what I've seen him. I watched him in the flesh in the Olympic Games. But Sean O'Sullivan had him down twice, but he still won a unanimous decision there for the light middleweight. This is 11 stone, 6 division. And Sibson came in right on the button and just a quarter of a pound heavier than Tate, who, strangely enough, was 2 pounds overweight. And they weighed in last night, which itself is unusual. And he had to get it off, and he said it wasn't much of a strain. His bedroom scales were wrong, apparently. Bit early for judgments, Jim, but he looks a bit sharp, Sibson, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, we look for Sibson to have some early success. He's doing the right thing. He's backing Tate up. Tate has a very good tight defence, and he's very clever the way he pulls punches out from a tight defence. Not too many people can do that. He pulls his defence in, but he's very sneaky with counter punches. So Tony's going to have to be a little bit careful, but to apply pressure as he's doing now.
Good little sharp left hook close in there. That's Sibson at his best when he does that. He got well within range to land that punch. Look out for that one. And he's having a good opening round, the challenger. And the stare at the end of the first from Tate, as if to say, well, he might be a bit better than I thought, but he's been studying him on video, of course. So there's the rundown then on Tony Sibson. As I say, 62 fights. He knows his way around. A couple of world championship fights, and one of them, of course, against the great Marvin Hagler. And the second one, given away too much weight, although he pretended to be a light heavyweight for that one.
He leaned down, you could chuck an awful. Come on, Tony, you felt your left hook, boy. All right, Tony. Come on, Tony, you're buzzing. Hey, this is your night. It's going to be your night, man. Deep breath, deep breath.
For round 2.
Second round then. 2 American judges and a Dane if it does go the distance. And the referee Cappuccino from New Jersey, who handled the Carlos de Leon recent Cruiserweight Championship of the world on the Mike Tyson bill. He loves fighting on home turf, Sibson. He's a real, genuine old pro, this fellow. Tate is a known, fairly slow starter, Jim, but I like the way Sibson's going about his work early on like this.
Well, most thinking fighters take their time in the early stages of a fight. The first couple of rounds are just having a look and working out, finding ways of making the other fellow miss. But Sibson was getting inside Tate's jab in the first round. He wasn't getting through his defence, but he was getting into punching range, letting good punches go. But even already, as early as the second round, Tate has changed slightly. He's not letting Sibson in quite so often in the first minute of the second round here.
Well, he got a dig in the ribs there, the challenger, that was heard in the back of this packed hall. As Jim Watt was saying there, notice how Tate draws the man on and then tries to counter with the left hook, drawing the opponent into position. Now, I'm wondering whether dragging down to do that weight, and he must have done it 2 pounds over at the first weigh-in, whether it's affected Tate or not. It's more of a mental condition in a way, Jim, that isn't it? A bit of a worry for a boxer.
Yeah, I think they weighed in quite early, a long time before the fight, which would obviously help any worries he has as far as his weight is concerned. But no, I think he knows how to make the weight without doing anything silly. But Sibson's getting nice and close, which is very encouraging for him this early in the fight.
Well, we're talking about Tate's punch picking, but Sibson's doing his share. Well, another thoughtful round indeed by Tony Sibson there. He's trying to get the punches off as quick as he can. At the end of the second, so there's his rundown, unbeaten of course, and he hasn't lost since his earlier amateur days now. This fellow has been going a long time now winning, and there's nothing like winning in this game, I tell you, to keep the confidence going. Jesse Reed working in the corner was a very good amateur light heavyweight. And he managed and trained, I should say, a couple of world champions, Bruce Curry and Roger Mayweather. So a little bit of Vaseline now might help him to slip punches, but not really. It stops a bit of chafing around the face as the gloves go by if they're not fully connected.
All getting in. All right, listen, I think you're a little too stationary with him. Let's get a little movement with your feet and start jabbing and moving. When he comes at you, if he's not coming at you, you back him up, all right, with a jab. Hit him here. Hit him here and bang. When he pulls in, go with the hooks and uppercuts.
And we're into the third round of this International Boxing Federation Middleweight Championship of the World. All the flying Rits have gone, and we're pleased to say that the tear gas canister that only the lunatic fringe would do was cleared, and Henry Cooper made a lot of passionate speech to say, behave yourselves, lads, and that's how it's turned out. He's fighting well, Jim Sibson, isn't he? Long way to go.
Sibson's boxing very well. Tate is very sneaky with some of the counters, as I said, out of a tight defence, but he hasn't shown anything exceptional yet. I get the impression that Tate has a lot more to show as yet. He's still keeping the pace low. His corner told him to try to back Sibson up, which would be a sensible thing to do. The fight as it's going now is suiting Sibson. He's coming forward, getting behind the jab.
When Sibson throws that cluster of punches, now notice how he tries to finish with a left hook. It's the most difficult punch to stop, apparently, to block. Tate's got a good boxing pedigree. Comes out of the tough town of Detroit. Produces so many champions, although now he's down in Texas. He's trying to draw Sibson on. But Sibson, he's forgotten that Sibson's been around a bit. When you fought Hagler, you should have few fears left. Sibson seconds now really wanted to rock and roll in there like that. Keep moving the body, make himself a difficult target. Minute to go then in the third. Referee keeping well away from this, the American. Hasn't had any reason to dive in at all. It's been a good, hard and clean fight. Or as the Minister for Sport is here, Colin Moynihan, we better say not fight, but contest. He's certainly standing off a bit now, Tate. It's, well, I'm not surprised. I've seen him do this before and come on late in the fight, but Sibson can put these rounds in the bank, Jim, as we come up to the end of the round.
There's a bit more rhythm in Tate's work at the moment. He's pinning Sibson with some nice counter-punching jabs, but I still feel that there's a lot more to be seen from Tate. But the fight's still, Sibson well in the thing. He's pressing forward, which he must do.
Been with him a long time now, Ken Squires. I call him the animal because he really pushes hard for this fellow in training. And Jimmy Tibbs on the outside of the ropes. And the young lady from Croxley Script, the sponsors.
You've got to get the old cool, man. Looking good, Tony. You're nicking the fight. Come on, son. This is your country. Just look busy with him. He's slipping away. Don't stand looking at it.
Let's have a look at this replay now, Jim, as he's diving in there, Sibson. You see, trying to get inside the champion's long arms.
See, Tate's very slippery. Sibson's finding it difficult to put punches together. He's only throwing single punches at this stage.
Stand up. Last 10. Come on, Tony. Breathe deep. Come on, you're the champ. Come on, son. You're the champ, Tony. Come on, son. Round 4.
Coming out for the fourth then. And there's a marked difference at this weight, Jim, 11.6. Tony Sibson's always saying, whenever I'm in good shape at 11.6, I've never really felt threatened by anybody. And he's different when he fought Dennis Andrews, trying to give away weight and going up to the 12.7 division.
Well, Sibson's small for a middleweight, so I don't really know what he was doing up at light heavyweight. This is his division. He has the power to hurt these fellows. He hasn't really landed cleanly on Tate's chin. Yeah, he's finding it difficult. Tate's very slippery. Tony wants to put punches together, but as soon as he gets the first punch off, Tate's off out of there.
Well, Sibson's corner, I understand, happy with his work, and now they want him to double up with that left jab. Now the postman's not punch. I like the way Sibson's switching his punches, Jim, too. He jabs a bit, then he's... Oh! He caught that right on the head, as I said that, just on the temple, that one. It's got Sibson in trouble here. Now, can he fight his way out of it? The old wise head will do it, and the strength, and indeed the determination with this fellow. Right above the commentary position here. Sibson's got to get off those ropes. Just bruised around the right eye as well now. Sibson's taking a bit of stick.
Tony is never effective if he's backed up. Tate's corner a couple of rounds ago told him to try to back Sibson up. This is the first time he's managed to do it, and straight away he's got Sibson in trouble.
I don't think it's desperate trouble, I'm pleased to say, at this stage, Jim.
Well, Tony took 3 or 4 punches he shouldn't have taken there. There was a lack of experience. I think he thought the referee was calling break, and he took another 2 punches.
Oh, yes, he's really countering classy stuff now, Tate. Yeah, it's started to open up now, Jim, hasn't he, as we come to the end of this round.
Well, Sibson threw a lovely right hand there. Tate saw it coming and just put the shoulder in between his chin and the punch, took it on the shoulder and came back with a counter. He is a smart boxer, Reg.
And the referee there collecting the scorecards of the two American and Danish judge.
Never went down, all right. Well, don't, Tony, listen, don't feel sorry for yourself.
And this is when he's getting the success again there, Jim. There it is, that long right hand. He's certainly got some reach, hasn't he? He's nearly 6 foot tall, only a fraction off. And that's, as you say, he's looking to get out of trouble a bit there. Sibson wants to hang on.
And again, son. Come on, son. And again. Get that wind back. Tony, while you're bobbing and weaving, he can't land that jab. Now, when you're upright, he's jabbing you. Get down. Get down. Get down, Tony. Let's go.
So the referee poised there as though they're going to a couple of greyhounds flying out the traps there into the 5th round, and an interesting and a hard-fought World Middleweight Championship. For a fellow who's only had 21 pro fights here, but admittedly Olympic champion, that shows the class. He's a wily ringman, isn't he?
Yeah, he has some classy moves. I felt in the first 2 or 3 rounds there was some improvement we would soon be seeing, and we saw it in the 4th round. He started backing Sibson up, and there's some lovely punches coming. Still some good defensive skills. Even now, Sibson has him backed up in the ropes, but he can't get him pinned enough to throw any worthwhile punches.
Americans appealing to their man to get off, which means let the punches go, don't pose too much. When he does it, he's very effective. It's a touch of the champion there, Jim. He took a good shot and then took the play away by coming back right away.
Yeah, he's a classy boxer, but Sibson giving as good as he's getting. It's the type of fight actually that's suiting Sibson. I thought Sibson would have a lot more trouble getting into punching range, but he's getting into punching range. But Tate is very slippery with a very good defence.
Minute to go in the 5th. And it's a bit of a punching chess match, really, Jim. They try to outthink each other a bit, aren't they?
I think actually Sibson should be maybe throwing 4 punches and hoping the last one's going to land. I don't think he can pick single punches at this man and hope to have much success, because he's too slippery. Tony's going to have to start throwing in the 3s and 4s and put the power into the 3rd or the 4th punch.
So as we get the countdown now, we're wondering now as the fight goes on, is Sibson, the long experience, any lead in his boots? We'll find out. Oh, it looked like a sloppy right hand, almost like a cricketer bowling down there, but it landed. So there you are in the corner, as I say. Inside the ring is Jesse Reed. He's an extremely good coach, but there you are. You always need the goods to do it, and that's Frank's younger brother on the outside, who they tell me is trying to make the American Olympic team for Korea. Jim, have a second look at this.
Well, it's still a thinking man's fight at the moment, which is suiting Tate slightly more. Sibson needs to get more punches off in bunches. A couple of times when Tate's landed cleanly, he's troubled Sibson. I haven't seen Sibson, he's landed a left hook there, but not troubling Tate in the slightest so far.
Almost like a conference in the office before the bell.
Second out for round 6.
So coming out then for the 6th. And to update, it's scheduled for 12 for the Imperial International Boxing Federation Championship. After much dispute about the scheduled number of rounds, it's now scheduled for 12. Just sent a lad around. Jesse Reed says, we think we're winning the fight, and now they're telling Tate that he's got to take total control for the second half. Oh, it's getting a bit rough now. It's inevitable, I think. They try to outthink, and now they've got to try and outslug and shove as well. Jim, there's not much in it now. I thought Sibson got off to a good start, but he's had a couple of good rounds now, Tate.
Yeah, there's not much in it because nobody's really had a big round. Nobody's dominated any part of this fight so far. A lot of Sibson's punches Tate has managed to catch on his arms and shoulders, and he's come back with some nice looking counter punches. Tate's punches have looked a little bit better than Sibson's because they're a little bit more accurate, and a couple of times he's knocked Sibson's head back. But it's very close. It can't be very much in it. Sibson has all the aggression.
Well, with American judges, they're big on aggression, of course, so that's doing him a favour. Got a good chin, Frank Tate. He hasn't been floored at all as a pro. He hasn't lost a decision since 1982. And he did take a count in that one, apparently, in the amateurs, of course. Originally an amateur with the famous Kronk stable in Detroit, but then turned pro with the millionaire-ish Josephine Abercrombie's camp in Texas, with Bob Spagnola directing things. A deceptive and difficult man to fight, Frank Tate, by the look of it. Whoop, almost after the bell, and the referee risked it there. And it's his 52nd birthday. We wouldn't like anything unfortunate to happen to him. And with that, we'll take a break, but we'll be right back with the action.
Dave, this can't be.
7th round then. And very much in the balance. Tate would seem to me just getting his head in front a little bit, I think, there, because he's just doing the smarter things. But Sibson, no doubt about it, it's one of the best fights I've seen him in, really, for a technical point of view, Jim.
Yeah, Sibson's boxing exceptionally well. But part of that reason, I don't think Tate is putting him under the pressure you would expect a world champion to put a challenger under. I don't think Tate's corner can be very happy with him at this stage because he hasn't really done anything exceptionally good. He's moved around, picking counter punches, and it's not what you'd expect a champion boxing away from home I'm wondering if this is good enough boxing away from home to hang on to a title, because Sibson's always looking busy, putting punches together, not always hitting target, but keeping himself in the fight at all times. And you would expect by now Tate to start at least trying to back Sibson up.
That's the old-fashioned feint, spelt with an E. Tried to draw the man on, but he's just hesitating that bit too much, as you say, Jim, for a top world champion.
Tate hasn't actually done anything in this round yet.
No, except pose. Not quite bobbing and weaving as much as he did early on, Sibson. He's so determined to get in, he's forgetting to do that, Jim.
Yeah, he's looking for some success with a big punch, and this fellow is very difficult to catch with single shots. Tony will really have to throw 3, 4, 5 punches at a time with power into the last couple of punches and hope one will land on target.
Roots himself in the corner there, Tate. Doesn't want to use too much of the ring. It's a fairly small ring. It's only just over 17 foot on the inside ropes there. Well, on industry alone, Jim, as we come up to the end of the round, Sibson's doing quite well, thank you.
This is a good round for Sibson because Tate has allowed him to take all the play away. Tate has done some very smart little moves in this round, some nice counter punches, keeping himself out of trouble, but he hasn't done half as much work as Sibson's done. Not a good round for Tate.
And there it is then, just to repeat, well, aren't there so many highlights with Tony Sibson? There's no doubt about it. He's been a great pro, this fellow, and just regained the British Championship against Brian Anderson, of course.
Main thing is, Frank, work your angles, all right? Work your angles. Work your angles.
For round 8.
Round 8. And of course we haven't got any access to the judges as far side of the ring. You can see there's one of them, and I think it's a very close fight. And as Jim Watt and I have been saying, if we're going to go on aggression, then Sibson's doing well, but there's still a bit to go yet to decide, Jim. This could really go to nearly the last rounds if somebody doesn't pull out the punch to make all the difference.
Well, Tate all the way through has been very smart with counter punches. He's made Sibson miss, and he's pinned him with some lovely looking punches, very cultured, clever punches, but he's not really doing enough work. See there, he's just smart little moves, a nice little jab on the end of it. I keep thinking, boxing away from home, you like to be a bit more dominant than this.
I tell you what, I wondered whether he'd had sufficient fire in his belly, but he's got it tonight, all right, Sibson. Not that he's ever lacked determination, but with injuries and, well, 1 or 2 other problems he had in the fight game, and recently, of course, with the Boxing Board of Control, etc., we wondered whether he'd just flag a little, but he's not showing the slightest sign.
I think the pattern of the fight has suited Sibson. He's been the one exerting the pressure. He's never been put under any pressure. Here he is again, exerting the pressure, finding it difficult to land cleanly. But again, good work from Sibson. The best spell Tate's had in this fight was with the one time he backed Sibson up. I'm amazed his corner haven't insisted that he starts to back Sibson up again. An
overhand right. a bit dangerous. It comes in a downward arc, and it's liable to cut Sibson if he's not careful.
You take away a lot of Sibson's effectiveness if you push him back. Even this little spell we're seeing now, Sibson's not half as effective if you push him back.
There it is, you see, he's still doing a bit too much posing, Jim, and I'm wondering how the American judges and the Dane are looking at this. I mean, it won't be what's known as a hometown decision because they're imported judges by the IBF.
Well,
and the referee doesn't score, incidentally.
I'll be honest, Reg, I expected a bit more from Tate. We were told how classy he was, all the moves he had, but he's come here to defend a title, counter-punching.
Well, they're going to be shouting in his ear there as you see the highlights of Frank Tate's career.
All right, now listen to me. We're in this guy's hometown. Let's start taking charge right now. All right? Keep our chin down. Let's keep these hands
On the
working.
outside isn't earwigging, as they say. He's actually a boxing border control inspector, making sure that nothing untoward goes on, like slipping a horseshoe in the glove.
Bust it right out.
The power of the family and God. You can next.
So the nutritionist is getting a bit concerned. Think of the family and God.
Take charge. Take charge. That's with the jab.
Out for the 9th round, and the crowd chanting at the back here. They're beginning to sense that Sibson might do it. Very much, you can go back that far as the crowd did when Randy Turpin started to get on top of Sugar Ray Robinson at Earl's Court all those years ago. The crowd sensed it early on now. Can he keep this up?
With Tate's corner, we're echoing what I was saying earlier on, Reg. This is not good enough away from home. You're boxing another fellow's hometown, he said. You have to take hold of this fight, take control of it, and he's not doing that.
This crescendo of Sibbo coming, and he's having to stand and trade now, Tate. Desperation setting in. I think really that they might have gone overboard in the States when he defeated Olajide, who was a little bit overrated, I thought.
He was also a totally different style of opponent to Sibson. Sibson is the man exerting pressure here.
Well, one of the Tate management saying Sibson started to weaken now. Well, I think he just might be kidding to him a little bit now, trying to pump his man up with that one, because there's no sign of it from Sibson. And somebody threw a banana skin in the ring now. That's all we need in an exciting fight like this, but it's being kicked out by the referee. Minute to go in the 9th.
Sibson appealing to the referee there. That's not a good sign at this stage in the fight, Reg. Tony's got to grit his teeth here and just start firing back. Tate's trying to put him under pressure now.
Because Tate was holding on a bit there. Why was he showing out, Jim, do you think, to the referee?
I think he felt Tate punched close to the back of the head as Sibson was turned away. I don't know what he was complaining about, but the thing is, don't complain, just grit your teeth and go on with the job.
So Sibson finishing this round trying to use the ring a bit, moving around.
round. Go.
Really getting stuck in, there's no doubt about that. He got a bit untied in. That was where I think he just cuffed him around with that rabbit punch, but not with that one, the uppercut.
For round 10.
Out for the 10th round of the scheduled 12 then for the middleweight championship of the world, the IBF version. He knows what it's like to go the distance all right. 14 title fights Sibson's had, 7 European, and was not defeated in any of them. Well, there might be misreading perhaps the contest from the Americans' corner, I'm not sure, but I hear Jesse Reed, the trainer, thinks that their man's 3 rounds in front. Jim?
No, I can't go along with that. Some smart boxing, some lovely counter punching, but Sibson's done far more work all the way through. Things didn't look too well for Tony in spells in the previous round, so this is where Tony's got to grit his teeth and make sure he has a good round here, a big round, get himself going forward again.
Notice he's showing out, shaking his head there as that right hand chopped down Sibson.
Sibson's trying to draw Tate on here. I don't know if this is a good idea, because any time Sibson's been in trouble, it's been when he's backed off.
He might be trying to steal a bit of a breather, Jim. You can never steal a breather in a championship fight, which I doubt.
You can't take a breather when you're the challenger, Reg. You got every round you got to go out there to try to take it. Tony's got himself in the fight, he's kept himself in the fight. The last thing he needs here is a breather.
Just trying to parry that left-hand jab away, notice. Some get through. You know, they had 3 on the turn, it didn't they? And that one, they're slipping past. Oh, that right hand. He's been showing out all along with that. He pulled it out of the fire. He's taken his gum shield out there, Sibson. He's not going to get up from this one, I don't think. I'm sure that he's left it too late, and he's counted him out in the act of rising. I make that about 2 minutes, 52 seconds of the 10th round, and he was just running out of gas, Jim, and he unloaded that right hand that came over the top, as they say, a downward arc, and it seemed to go right through from head to boots with Sibson, and he is choked.
It was a good punch, Reg, but Sibson gave away the initiative in that round. As you said, it seemed as though he was taking a breather, and at this stage, that was the last thing he should have been doing. He had himself in the fight, he was putting up a tremendous battle. It was very, very close. No way did that have Tate in front. The fight was in the balance. Sibson started backing off. A couple of times earlier on, he backed off, got himself in trouble, and that time he got himself in trouble, he couldn't get out of.
He's still down here.
So we can see this punch now, Jim. He's been throwing it all during the fight, and he's ready to tee off with it. Moves towards the right, which was a mistake, and bingo, on the side of the head there. And the shock seemed to go through him. He couldn't handle the shock inflicted there. Jim, another angle then.
See, when Tate was coming forward, he was getting that little bit extra power into the punches. He put Tony in trouble a couple of times. That was a perfect shot. You saw his arms relaxing as he went over. It was obvious he wasn't going to beat the count.
So here's Jim Rosenthal then with the defeated Sibson.
Tony, good to see you up so quickly.
Yeah.
And taking notice. What did you make at the end of it?
I was sad, really, because I had it under control, and all of a sudden I just seemed to drift out of the fight. You know, for 2 rounds, I found it hard to get back in there. I just couldn't stand my ground, you know. And that's all credit to Frank Tate, obviously, because he he worked me out of the fight in such a way. I was feeling good up until about the 8th round.
A lot of debate about whether you were ahead at the time of your knockout. Would you think you were?
I think I was nicking it. I was nicking it. But the fact is, it wasn't, I've got to be truthful, it wasn't me fighting sort of thing. It was as if I was drifting out of the fight, and all the time that was happening, my heart was going down the drain as well, you know.
You lost a bit of heart in there, you feel?
Yeah, I just lost composure. I just went back to my corner, had a good round in about the 8th round. I beat him at his own game, and I sort of like just lost it. I started to look at him, and, you know, all credit to Frank Tate because he was very established. He never showed he was hurt at any time. I know I hurt him, but he never showed it really, and I started to drift out of the fight. It was a terrible feeling.
I've got to ask you the question, is this it now for you, Tony?
Yeah, you know, I must say this one thing. I was in great shape for tonight. I mean, extremely great shape. It's just sad that after all these years, you know, I just truly lost concentration and the heart, you know, I really did. My heart went out of it, and I feel sad because I've let a lot of people down.
I don't think you've let anybody down, but as far as a fighter is concerned, that's it from Tony Sibson.
Yeah, I've proved what I've done. I've done a lot for British boxing, and I've enjoyed the people who've stood by me all the years. It's been fantastic.
Listen, you've gone out with a very brave tilt at a world title. You'll be missed, but you've had a great career.
Would have been nice to have won it for all these people.
I've got to ask you just one thing, Tony, just finally. Some of your fans before the fight, the lunatic fringe, disgraced themselves in here. A lot of your fans supported you well. What about that lunatic fringe?
I don't think there was nothing to do with Tony Sibson. I can more or less name the people who follow Tony Sibson by heart because they've been with me for all the years. I think maybe if there was a crowd, then it certainly wasn't anything to do with Tony Sibson.
OK, Tony, I think the crowd here want to give you the reception you deserve. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Frank Tate, still world champion. Congratulations, but what do you make of Tony Sibson's challenge here?
He came in, you know, he had the fans behind him. It was his hometown. And he came out to give it his last chance to really win a world title, and we have to give Tony Sibson credit, you know. He was a good fighter back in his younger days, but I was the better man and youth took over.
How far ahead did you feel you were when you finished the fight?
Well, my main thing was getting Tony Sibson in my rhythm, you know, getting the reach at him. He came out, he was boxing good, so I decided, well, I'll stay away from him, just keep the jab on him, let him tire down, and then come over the top of the right hand, and that's what happened.
You're renowned for being a patient sort of fighter. You had to show a fair bit of patience here in Stafford, didn't you?
Well, yes, I'm very patient, I'm relaxed, and a lot of fighters can adapt to my style.
I think we can probably show you the punch that ended the fight, and it's a punch that you'll be well pleased with.
Oh, yes. Well, see, I was jabbing, getting Tony in the jab, and bam, over the top.
The same one that damaged Michael Olajide in your last fight. Just give us finally your conclusions of coming over here to Britain and defending your title.
Well, you know, I'm very happy and pleased that I successfully defend my title and I'm still world champion. The people here in Stamford has been a great warm hospitality at Eccleshall Castle, and we're going to have a good party.
And a final assessment of Tony Sibson, who's retired here tonight. He's been a very good fighter for a number of years.
Oh, yes. Like I said, we all have to take our hats off to Tony. When I was a little boy watching TV, I was watching Tony, and now here I am fighting Tony, and, you know, you have to take your hat off to that. He came in and gave a good fight.
So a rich tribute then for the world champion to a man who's had such a distinguished career. Tony Sibson said he had a lot of points to make tonight, he just couldn't make them. He seemed to disintegrate towards the end, Jim, didn't he?
Yeah, well, all the way through, Tony was having to take sharp counter punches, but he was keeping himself in the fight just by sheer appetite and driving himself on. About the 9th round, he couldn't find that any longer. Then, especially in the 10th round, he seemed to lose it all. He started backing off, and that allowed Tate to tee off on him, and that finished it off. But it was a great challenge by Tony at this stage in his career. He just couldn't have, he didn't have the fire we expect him to have.
A brief assessment of the champion.
A good boxer, a very smart, a clever boxer. We also have to give him a chance because he's going to improve. He's just won the title. I thought he would have been a little bit better. I thought he would have dominated a lot more. I thought he would have pushed Sibson back, but very sharp, very clever, but not. I don't see the makings of an all-time great fighter, but who knows? Give him his chance.
In a word, Tony's right to retire, isn't he?
Definitely. Tony, thankfully, is financially secure. He's had a fabulous career, 3 chances at the world title. He just doesn't have the drive anymore. And when you reach the stage when you don't have that drive, we all reach that stage. Tony's reached that stage now, so it's right for him to retire now.